here he goes. Who's hosting you? It is the one, the only Mr. Sihlangu.
All right. There we go. Knock, knock, knock. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Can I be that guest for a second? Let's go, let's go. What?
All right.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly.
All right.
And the party.
How are you doing?
I'm great, man. It looks like you're having a hot party in the cold.
I am like that guest. By fire, by force. How are you doing, though? You good?
It feels like we are literally on live amp or somewhere. You know, it's so like just it's a jam, man. Yeah,
we are jamming. Thank you for having me. Thank you for hosting me. For a few seconds, yeah, let's just pump this jam. Just another 60 seconds. It's one of my jams. It says you make me believe. Because we are in this dream. We are living this dream, right?
Living a dream. What? Yeah, man. We're living the dream.
What? Hello, everybody. Oh, wow. What a joy, what a joy, what a joy. I'd like to greet your people and greet my people. And welcome to the HE.ARTS live chat extra. Listen, guys, I'm so excited for today. I don't know where you are coming from, where you are, but you can post and tell us where you are at whilst we continue with this conversation. It's going to be an exciting evening. And I know I'm hosted by Weza, but actually I'm hosting Weza. All right.
Yes, this is your show. Let no one confuse that. That's your show.
Right. Mr. Weza, that guy. I always have a problem with your surname every time I say it because I'm just like, oh my goodness, what am I going to say? Can you pronounce your surname?
It's easy.
Matomane. Yeah, I'm only saying Weza Matomane. You know, Weza Matomane. All right. Welcome. Say welcome. And this is the HE.ARTS live chat. The whole aim of this conversation is celebrating people who are the light beyond the spotlight. We've been in lockdown and everything is doom and gloom and people don't know whether they're coming or going, but we need to continue this life situation and celebrate all things that are beautiful and all things that are life. So today I wanted to spend some time with you, hear from your story. Whilst you're still fixing that, you good?
Yeah, I'm all good. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, you're a bit dark, but we still see you. Well, a tad, but it's cool. We can survive this.
Yellow bone. Hey, Baba.
And in reality, it's the other way around. Lighting, Baba, lighting. Anyway, for people who don't, who might not know you, how would you describe yourself?
Wow. I think I would describe myself as an ordinary guy with extraordinary dreams and someone who's just willing to just go after them, you know, and sacrifice what needs to be sacrificed, pay what needs to be paid, but we're going, Baba. And I'm just the guy who said, why not me? Why not now? Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. An ordinary guy who is just daring to live, who's daring to make their strides. And I like what you're saying when you say, why not me? Why not now? Because a lot of us always ask ourselves, every time a big opportunity knocks on our doors, we're like, why me, you know? And then we start to even say, why now? Because we start to question ourselves. Are we ready? Are we not? So it's going to be interesting to dive in how you got to that mindset that you have today. Before we go far, if you were a fruit at this very moment, what fruit would best describe your mood, your state of being, and why?
Okay. You know, when I was 3 years old, my mama told me I am the salt of the earth. You got to come to this life with a little bit of flavor. You know what I mean? You got to come with something, man. When I bite into something like a mango, I got to taste that flavor. And that's
yes.
mango, man. Come on.
You are some sweetness and some juice and all sorts of yum.
You know what I mean? They say, taste and see that God is good. I'm not good.
Oh, no. Listen. In the midst of the winter, in the midst of the cold, when you are a mango, they must know. Oh, that is exciting, man. So take us back. Let's go on this journey with you quickly, because you are that guy, you know, Weza, that guy. You are known for your voice. You are known for your talent. And take us back to growing up, you know, where it all started. Where were you born? And how was it growing up? You know, I know there's a story of growing up at Karachi and stuff like that. So I want you to just take us on a journey before we meet that guy.
Okay. Wow. I mean, I grew up in the Vaal van der Bijl Park. You know, there was a time in my life we lived in Sebokeng, which is a township around there. And we went to, that creche. From that creche, that was in the townships. My mother one day came to fetch me, and the teacher said, "Hey, Mrs. Matomane, I think you're going to have to take your child to a multiracial school." My mother was like, "What? Why?" It's like, "No, come and see." Now that part did happen. The rest is stuff I'm gonna make up because I'm. So then they said to all the kids, you know, in the townships, they don't teach us the whole alphabet. Why? Teachers is fine, Baba. A-E-I-O-U.
A-E-I-O-U.
So the whole class was going, they said, Weza's 4 years old that time. They're like, Weza, now you do it. Now, Mama, Weza, Mamela here. Weza, do I-E-O-U? And I probably sounded like this. A-E-O. And they were like, yeah, man, multiracial.
Listen! Oh, wow. They were like, this child is going to give from God, a voice from God. We're not worthy of teaching him. Huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the truth is that eventually then we did go to a multiracial school. You know, I arrived there. We were supposed to be in the English class, but my mom came with her village tactics. You know, in the village, you come on the first day of school and you say, "Hey, you've got a school, I've got a child. Yeah, let's make it happen." And then, unfortunately, that's not how it happened. They said their class is full and there's nothing they could do. Can I try another school? The schools were full. My mother was, my mother was desperate. They asked her, "Look, ma'am, the only thing we could do right here, we have some space in the Afrikaans class. Can your child speak Afrikaans?" Hey, my mother was desperate. She was like, yeah. Oh, Mama. And just like that, I was put in the Afrikaans class. And from there, and I never actually did go back to English. So I did everything in Afrikaans from grade 1 all the way through to matric. I was there with the Van Niekerks, the Van Tunders, the Van Watwats, all of them.
Leicester.
Yeah. So when I got to university, that's the only time I actually started doing English like properly. So it was still quite tough because most of the English words were like a little bit above me because I did second language English. So my vocab was also not that great. I made mistakes, grammatical errors. In class, I was calling things rubber. In fact, can you please borrow me your rubber? People were like, you mean my eraser? I was like,
my eraser? Yo!
It was not nice. So I used to get a lot of those jokes, when you ask to borrow. Someone's asked you, no, lend, borrow, may, can, all these tenses and terms and things like that at first I wasn't, I knew them, but like you don't know when to use which one. So sometimes you make a couple of mistakes, and then, how most of us black people, we like to make fun of other black people who don't know. Or just one mistake, I still sometimes feel nervous when I have to write something in front of many people.
Exactly.
You're thinking, hey, if I make one spelling error here, these people.
I'm gonna be a joke. So, luister, ek het nie geweet dat jy Afrikaans by die skool gedoen nie. En ek wil nou 'n bietjie oefen, want ek
wil jy nou Afrikaans praat? Ek wil hierdie hele ding in
Afrikaans.
Ons gaan nie dit to the poor people.
Net vir 2 minute, sodat as ons die land terugkry, dan weer die mense waar hulle moet kom. Ons moet die land kry, want ons weet om hoe die taal te praat, maar die land praat, hoor.
Ja, nee, kijk, dis ook een daai Tsepo, dis waar. Mense moet 'n bietjie Afrikaans leer, want as julle nie Afrikaans ken nie, gaan julle nie weet wat om in daai land te doen nie. And you people, you must learn Afrikaans, eh?
You must tell them to learn. No, man, I did not know that story, because I think with that, it also presented you with, as much as it was an opportunity to get into this multiracial or modesty school, but it started to make you an outsider within the black community, because a black child speaking Afrikaans in a community in a time where most of his surroundings are not speaking that language. How did you relate to people in general? And I mean, you were an outsider, I guess, even at school because you were black, but at home because of your language. So you kind of never belong. Take us through that.
Yeah, wow. Actually, you're the first person to kind of put it like that, and that's true. I enjoy your interviewing style because you could see that. Yes, I was an outsider everywhere. Like at school, I was an outsider, and at home, I was an outsider. And at first, you could see that as something to hold you back. You could see something that makes you different as something that's wrong. So you have less self-confidence. So for quite a while, I had less self-confidence. I dimmed my light more because I felt like, I'm not white like the other kids are white in the white class. There were times where when I was in grade 4, grade 4, I'm 9 years old. There's this girl called Alicia. It's interesting. She DM'd me the other day asking for training advice and whatever. But she forgot her sins, but the victim remembers. So let me tell you what happened, okay? Let me tell you what happened. Story. We're busy writing. She's left-handed. That's how I know it's her. She's left-handed. So she's sitting next to me in class. And the first time I get put next to her, she's a white girl. Normally, boys get put with boys. Now, uneven numbers.
Exactly.
And she's left-handed. So accidentally, as we're writing, our elbows touch, because I'm right-handed, she's left-handed. And then when they touch, she jumps, and then she wipes her elbow. And I'm like, what is the sin to be a black person? Like, to not be that thing, you're 9 years old at the time, and how you process that type of stuff is different. So anyway, you have those feelings of inadequacy. You have those feelings of why because there are so many things counting against you. Little kids are not that good at hiding the apartheid that is around at home. They bring it to school and they don't hide that stuff that easily. They'll talk about the other black kids with using all those terms that were used at home, and now you're sitting there and you're like, And then they're like, "Ni yaini Weza."
Ni yaini ya. Yes, this was Hala. I'm almost so serious.
You know, not all of them were like this though, but I'm just saying that sometimes you experience that, but it only takes those few encounters sometimes to kind of knock you back a couple of steps, and it can affect you for a while until you start to redefine yourself. So I started to redefine myself and seeing my difference as a superpower, you know, especially when I got to high school. Because I was black, I had rhythm, you know, I could dance. And because of that, they started to like me because I was the dancing guy. I was the rapping guy. I was the cool guy. I found a way to become a glue amongst all these guys. And though there were tough times at home because, we had our own financial issues at home. But at school, I tried to really be who I want to be, and try to just define what life can be like for me. You know, I think what helped me a great deal was, it's interesting, I'll say this, but there's a game called The Sims. So in this game, you get an average guy. He's not good at much. He's not a great socialite. He's not good at fixing anything. He's not anyone's friend. And he's just got a little bit of money, and he starts off with a basic life. But you can kind of shape this guy's life. And you want it to be funny. You can be funny. You can be athletic. He can be, a science person. He can become anything. You can buy books. You can train. You can talk to people. You can become better. And I was really fascinated about this game when I was in my early teens. I was 14, 15. Maybe it started when I was around 12. And I really liked this game. And I figured, man, this in life is kind of like the same thing. You could kind of be anybody, and then whatever success you want, you can learn it. That's the cool thing, is that it's like a recipe to a cake. You know, if you see a carrot cake that looks amazing and you're thinking, wow, that looks amazing. I wonder what type of supernatural human being gets God ordained with the task of making carrot cake. No, it doesn't. It's not for select few people. You take the recipe book and you follow it to the T. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter how much money you have in the bank, you'll also get the carrot cake if you follow that recipe. And the cool thing is that success works the same way. And
exactly,
do what successful people do, and you'll become successful. So that to me was good news.
I want to stop you quickly there, because there are two things that you're touching on and that I'm very interested in. One is the superpower, where you find your superpower. And I want to question this. I want to frame this question like this. Do you feel that always us as black people, to find our superpower, we always need to find its expression, needs to always be performative for it to be validated? Because you're speaking about your superpower, but you're speaking about how you were the guy that just got there and danced, and the guy that it's almost as though for us to even exist in any space, we have to perform it. We can't just believe it and know it and be silent about it. Your take on that?
I think that we all have unique gifts, and we all have different gifts. You know, there comes you grow into phases in your life where, for now, maybe you still trying to believe it, so you are almost overcompensating with all of this,
because you just like see me.
And you because here's the thing. If you want something that is above your current results, it has to come from inside, right? But now that's the challenge. When you start thinking on the next level, when you start thinking on the next level of success, when your thinking starts to become right here, the challenge is that nothing in your life right now has any evidence of that dream that you have. You know, you
exactly.
You want to live like you're dreaming of, let's say, of a millionaire lifestyle, but nothing in your life says millionaire right now. And in that time when you don't have any physical evidence of this dream that is inside, you are going to have to, because in that time it's only inside, and you're going to have to work against all the opposing forces that are trying to push your inside to look like what's happening outside. But you need to push the other way, and you need to say, no, what's inside is the real stuff. I need to push that so that it can start manifesting in my physical life, And that's the time when you work, and then there comes a time when you are at peace and at equilibrium, when your reality looks and feels like what you feel like inside.
Exactly. And it takes a journey, because when you're speaking about that, I remember one afternoon my father came to pick us up from school, and we were at there used to be these Coca-Cola trucks where people they used to park the truck, open the stage, and an activation of some sort. And my sister and I were the only ones wearing a different uniform, And the guy who was on stage was looking for somebody who he can pull up on stage to give the soccer ball to. So he's like, who's gonna come? And I just sat there, I just stood there serious, like not gonna be that guy that lifted my hand. But I was wearing a different uniform. So he skipped me, and he got another guy to come on stage. And then the second time he had a bottle, and now he said to me, I'm gonna pull you even if you've got that serious face. And then when I went on stage, he said, I wanted to give you the soccer ball, but because you were so serious, I didn't know. So I just was like, hey, let me leave this one. But you know what? I decided to give you a shot. So when you're speaking about being performative, I think sometimes we're too shy and too afraid to say, pick me in the crowd, because we're scared that if they don't pick us, then we'll look foolish to everybody else. And I was there wearing this different uniform, so I knew I was different already. But for me to acknowledge it was another story, So when you're speaking about allowing the inside to come out, and sometimes even if it's performative, in the beginning you just have to perform, because if you don't, then the outside kind of crowds in and starts to affect the inside. Then you look like the outside. I really like that. And then you went on to speak about the cake, the carrot cake, and you said that the Sims game inspired you about the carrot cake and making the cake. But now a lot of us see and you said that when you do the cake, anybody can make the cake, anybody can have this successful cake. But let's talk about the first few attempts, because we all know that the first attempt might not come out right, and the second attempt might not come out right. So how do you advise people who have all the ingredients to be great, have the recipe, the script to be great, but they're afraid because their first attempt contradicted what they expected? The outcome was not the same as what they had intended.
Okay. Let's actually, I like talking in word pictures, because I believe it's something that you could remember for longer. It's something
exactly
that when you see a cake, you're thinking, Weza once said, right? So that's why I like kind of picking something that's like, for instance, a cake. So I want to explain the process of baking a cake again. So now,
please.
The first thing is, yes, you're right. You're going to need the ingredients. And sometimes some of the things you came bearing, like those are your God-given blessings. You got some gifts already with you. And some of the things you might have to acquire or borrow from other people. You're going to watch this live for today, and you're going to see something. You know what? I'm not going to tell you anything you don't already know, because the truth is, the things that hit you like bars feel so part of you because you have it inside you. So when you hear me, actually you are realizing something about you through this conversation, And
amen.
So you here to fetch the eggs, you here to fetch the mealie meal, you here, I don't think mealie meal is in the cake. You here to take the flour, you here to take sugar, you here to get some milk, but you here to get some different ingredients, some of the things that you had, but maybe in a little shortage, and you're here to get that all together, to mix that all up. But you know what? Even once you've done it all, you've got all the ingredients. The last thing that you have to do is put that whole batter or that intama into
the dough.
Then you have to put it in the oven. What is putting it in the oven? It is putting it in the right conditions. You have to put yourself.
Wait. You can't move that fast past that. You can't drop that and then just be like, no, wait. We need to go back to that. So putting it in the oven is putting it in the right conditions.
Yes.
Wow, that hit home. Sorry, I had to stop you because it was too much. We couldn't just move on. Let's go back. Okay, continue.
Yeah, so you're going to have to put yourself in the right conditions, because it is only in the right conditions where this can grow and become more. It can grow and it can multiply, so that something that looked like it could only feed you can feed a whole family. That's where something grows, when it's in the right condition. And you know what else happens in the right condition? The God factor. Time. Because you have no
Let's get
that part right there. That's now where all the things start to change. Like literally, all you did was mix this watery stuff with this dusty stuff, and you put it in there in the right condition, and then you wait. And then because you've done everything right and you put it in the right condition, now all that needs to happen is you can't put yourself in the right condition and then lose patience and take yourself out, because then you have you're still the same as you were before, because you only allowed yourself to be there for a short space of time. So what's important is that you get yourself there and then you stay there. And even if it feels like it's taking long, you need to stick around. You need to stay. You need to be patient and trust the process. Allow for the growth to happen.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about time, because I've realized that a lot of people have become these ingredients. They've got everything together. They've set themselves in the right position. But you're speaking about the God factor, and that being time. And a lot of us feel that I've been in this oven for 2 minutes, or I have been in this oven for why am I not brown like the other cake, And sometimes, even when you've been in the oven for long enough, the carrot cake that you saw in the magazine had the cream on top. And you don't know that the cream is not placed when the cake is still in the oven. It has to come out of the oven. And so we get frustrated in that space. How would you advise, because I know there's a lot of artists that are watching this conversation who are feeling like, I've been waiting on it to be my time, but it seems as if it's taking time. What would your advice be, especially when you're speaking about this God factor, what we cannot control? How do we wait actively in that moment?
The other important thing is that you must understand that we are all of different dough, and we are all going to have different end products at the end. Some of us, sizobanga carrot cake, abanye azobanga amagwinya. You can't look at amagwinya and say,
wow, good person.
Fast. What about me? No, that man igwinya, that man. When are you going far? You're going far. And you go take it longer.
I hear you, because Sepiso here is saying that I've been in this oven for 5 years. And I know a lot of other people will say, I've been in this oven. But I like what you're saying. We might at one point all have looked like a dough, We might have all been mixed, and we might have all had to sit, but others were not. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
What you must understand is that a carrot cake is more expensive than igwinya, Like,
exactly.
The fat cake got matured faster. It looked faster. It was, first of all, in different conditions than you are, and sometimes that's what we fail to recognize, that we might all look like we started the same way, but we have different conditions and we have different starting points. And if you were actually really honest with your growth, you might find that you've done way better than what you give yourself credit for. And waiting. Someone was asking, how do you wait actively? Because they were just taking some words that you had. So you see, there's a difference between waiting and waiting patiently. Waiting patiently means that you are calm while you do this waiting thing, but just you could wait, but wait anxiously, right? You could be like, where's this? And it's an uncomfortable process, man. It even makes you want to quit waiting because it doesn't feel comfortable, you know. And then there's just trusting the journey, trusting the process, and just serving in your time of serving, and allowing yourself to receive, because maybe it's just your time to receive. And what I mean by that is that there are times where you are not the one giving the helping hand, you're getting the helping hand, and you feel like, I wish I could just, I don't want to be a skip man. When do I get to be the one? Like, I want to be the main O in the thing. I have this theory that when it comes to the waiting game, I have this theory that I'll hopefully one day write a book about, called The Seventh Guy. All of us want to be the seventh. You remember that?
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just
before
say it again. Yeah.
Before you share that story of the seventh guy, I also want to acknowledge, you know, when I walked the first time I met you, and we're going to speak later on about your course and what you teach and your company and stuff. But I had met you already, because everybody that meets you already has met you, because they see you on their TV screen all the time, you know? So by the time they get there, they have an expectation, and I was no different. I was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to say? How do I structure my word? You know, what's going to happen? Maybe he's a celebrity, so he's going to have that thing already. Like, what's going to happen, you know? But I was excited to still be there because I had not yet seen you. And the minute you open the door, it's like at that moment, we were human. What you have done, what I knew about you, immediately fell out of the room. It wasn't just about these two people entering a space. And I've always appreciated how you really interact with people as people. You don't interact with people from a pedestal, from a stage or some space of like, you know, I'm the guy that's about to teach you. You always see people. In fact, whenever you know, we see you, we acknowledge you and all that is you. And I think that that's what I found in your space. And I'm stopping you before you speak about the seven principles, because you were also, you didn't have a filter. As a teacher, your heart was so open to just give. And that I appreciate. Even in this conversation, your heart is so open to give, and everybody is able to just receive from you. So everybody that's watching, let's get into this theory of the seventh guy. Please unpack it for them, because it changed my life. I loved it.
Wow. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Wow. Okay. So I say that, you know, we all want to be the seventh guy. The seventh guy is the main person of the audition. You know, the audition, there's that guy who's going to get the audition. We already know he's the one on the billboards, or she's the one doing the TV commercial, or she's the singer, she's the, you know, she's the Bonan, you know, he's the Noah right now. He's the Kanye West that just signed the contract for another 3.3 billion, you know, that's the seventh guy, you know, the main person in the universe. It feels like Skapebona sometimes.
Exactly.
Like, it's always winning, and the rest of us are just here.
You were just present to witness.
Yes. So that's the seventh guy. And we all want to be the seventh guy. And the truth is that the good news is that we can all become the seventh guy in different levels. I believe that there's a seventh guy, but then as soon as you become the seventh guy, you move up a level and you become guy number one again in a new level. And then there's more growth for you to happen to become the new seventh guy. That's why every rich person knows a richer person. You know, every successful person knows a more successful person, because that's how the seventh guy principle works. But now, before you get to number 7, you have to pass number 1. Who's guy number 1? Guy number 1 is the person who, let's make an example of the arts, because you are in the arts. Guy number 1 is the person who heard about the audition, but heard too late. Oh man, like apparently coulda, shoulda, woulda. Last week there was something. Oh, Pimfana. Oh, in that case, you're
guy number one.
Yeah. And then guy number two hears about the audition, hears about it on time. But guess what? Life happens. Things get in the way. And shucks, I could have gone. My mom, my sister, I had to. There are things that just came up and life stopped you. And you wonder what could have happened if you were the person. Maybe you could have gotten that thing. But, oh well, so when next time? Then you get to be guy number three. Guy number three hears about this thing, hears about it on time, actually goes. But when they get there, feelings of inadequacy come in and they shy away from the opportunity. They say, "Hi, maybe I should."
Yeah.
And they come up with excuses why they need to go home. They look at other
I've been that guy.
and they're like, "Yo, oh, what?" They look at this other, you know, those guys with the spades and the things, and you're like, for this ad. I don't know if they're gonna go with me and my. You come up with reasons why to disqualify yourself. So that's guy number three. He disqualifies himself, or she disqualifies herself while she's right there, and then she puts herself the opportunity because of feelings of inadequacy. And
that's the thing. She's present. She's in the space. She's in proximity with a dream, or he's in proximity with his dream. But his excuses disqualifies him from giving it a shot.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Those people are like the fans and the linesmen. They never get onto the field to actually play. You know, they always say, I never miss a match, but they never playing the match. They're always just coming to watch, and they're wondering why they're not scoring any goals. You don't score goals when you're on the outside. Even if you can get them as being the linesman, you won't score any goals when you're on the outside. Yeah. And unfortunately, many people live life, it's like a pyramid, and one down here on guy number 1, 2, and 3. Now, what happens at guy number 4? Guy number 4 is the person who hears about the audition, attends the audition, actually goes, and the first chance they get in front of the judge, they choke. Oh, shucks. You let yourself down. You worked so hard at home. What are you doing? Your parents? It was your last money.
Last 10 rand for taxi.
Guys, please try one more time. They're like, no, come back next year. You let yourself down. Guy number 4 lets himself down because they were not ready. They were not good enough. And that's just how it went that day, you know, and you don't know what happened. You know, it's that when your friend says, Toma, how did it go? And you're like, I don't know what happened.
Ish.
That's guy number 4.
He's the ish guy. Ish.
Yeah, the ish person is guy number 4. What happens at guy number 5? So guy number 5 actually goes to the audition. I mean, they failed a couple of times. Because here's the thing, right? Just before we go over to guy number 5, you could stay at guy number whatever level for a long time. It doesn't mean
exactly.
Guy number 1 once. Next time you're going to automatically become guy number 2. You can be guy number 3 5 times before you move up a level. Because life is like primary school. It's going to hold you in that grade until you learn how to do this particular thing. And then you're going to move on. You know?
Hallelujah.
So wondering, why aren't I progressing? Why am I staying at this or letting myself down level of guy number 4 or guy number 3? Well, that's because you're not learning what grade 3 is teaching you. As soon as you learn how to read and write, they might let you through to the next grade when you have to now learn how to, do some other things. But what's important is that you are aware of what is this phase in my life trying to teach me. Actually think about that. Like, be silent sometimes and just look at the patterns, because if there's a pattern that you see in your life in the last 2 years or last 3 years, it means that there are a series of decisions that you keep on repeating that lead to the same outcome that eventually start to look like a pattern, and you're wondering, You know how you break out of the loop? You think differently, do something different, and it can break you out of that system, take you to another level, and now you can start operating at guy number 6 or guy number 7. What happens at guy number 5? Guy number 5 does not let himself down, but instead they almost got the gig. They were literally so close. It's just that there were 3-4 people better than them, and
exactly.
It was so close. Like, but unfortunately, when you're watching that audition, when you're watching the actual ad on TV or the actual show or the actual movie, and you're saying to the person next to you, I was almost casted for the stage. Like,
exactly.
No one's gonna believe you. It's so frustrating, guy number 5, knowing that you know all the main people. You know the guys, the 6s and the 7s. You know them, but you're just not cool enough to associate with them yet. Mara, you ambardar. You're like, you're someone once.
I'm there, but not there.
Someone once said to me, I'm a C-list or B-list. I don't know what it was. I just like, I'm on it. Like, I'm getting it. It was that years ago. It was a couple of years ago before the TV stuff. But that is what being guy number 5 is like. Like, you meet these people at the auditions, but it's still not you yet, because there's still that thing that you still need to learn that can take you now to guy number 6. What happens at level 6? When you get to level 6, you got the gig, but you're not the main person at the gig. It's like you're the dude on Mr. Bones who walks past. You're not Mr. Bones. Like, you're the guy.
You're not the story. You're the supporting act. You're not even in the box.
It's like when they say, no, my brother used to sing with Ringo. And you're like, oh. Nobody cares, bro. Who cares about Ringo? Like, I'm talking about the guy that stands behind. He's so proud of himself because he knows what it is taken to get to sing with Ringo. But
exactly.
Unfortunately, the world doesn't remember the runner-up. The world doesn't remember the person who's next to the person who was winning. If I asked you the first time Usain Bolt won a gold medal and broke a world record, who was second?
Yeah.
You're not quite sure.
Exactly.
We're not sure. Because the world doesn't remember the guy who was second. People remember the 7th guy. But you have...
You know why they don't remember number 2? The guy who was number 2. Because nobody wants to be reminded of number 2. They just want to flash. No one wants to look back at number 2. Sorry for digressing, but let's continue.
Yeah. So that's the theory of the 7th guy. You go through these levels. You stay on certain levels until you've learned the lesson, and then you can move on to the next one. And once you get to level 7, you enjoyed that blessing for a while, and then of course it's time to if you're gonna stay there for a long time, you're not growing, so it's time to introduce yourself to a new level 1 somewhere else. People like Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah didn't just land that gig out of the blue. He was already number 7 in South Africa, and then he was number 1 in other countries. And
exactly.
From being a 1 to a 2 to a 3 to a 4 to a 5 to a 6 to eventually a 7 in America. And that's how...
Exactly.
Yes. So these guys, even Bobo Nangi, they sometimes leave, go overseas.
Black Coffee, all of them. Yeah.
Maybe they're going to audition for something, people like
exactly
auditioning for things you don't know about. Because they're not complacent and saying, I'll just stick with the same South Africa, but they're trying to, to expand, and that's more or less how it works. 1 to 7. Yeah.
Wow, you just dropped bombs, and I think they are so valuable because we all know these guys, and we've all been these guys. Some of us are waiting to get to number 7. Some are stuck at 5. You are that guy that's in the room, that's doing the job, but you're just not the one for the time, And I think what you just said is what was important is, again, taking us back to this thing of pick me, because you need to do certain things that breaks the cycle to put you in that level of number 6. And in number 6, respect the responsibilities that comes with number 6 to get yourself to number 7. So a lot of people, when they meet you now, I mean, you could be in another level 2 or a level 3 in a different league now. But a lot of people, to them, you are also in a number 7. But they don't know where your story started. You know, they don't know how you came about to do this voice-over work. So now you do a lot of other things besides voice-over work, but you are that guy for the voice. You know, you are the voice. So there's a story that you share about your aunt who says, something about that. And share that story quickly with us. And in sharing the story, get into the time when you started to work when you really started to be your first gigs as a professional using your voice. Yeah.
So, I mean, growing up in the Vaal, you know, you're in a small town and you have these big dreams, and all you could do at that time was just imitate the people that you hear on radio or the people you hear on TV. And I used to do the same thing. So, I mean, I remember walking with my aunt and my mom and my siblings into fruit and veg one day. It was a Saturday or Sunday or so. And then I just looked at one of the posters and I said, try our bananas, which is R9.99. And then my aunt was like, and I was like, I was so hurt. I was like, you know, one day I'm going to make money doing this. And she just rolled her eyes and she's like, whatever. And she, you know, carried on pushing the trolley. And those are those moments where you also could either let that person's opinion become your reality, and you could think, okay, she's right. Actually, I mean, those things don't happen to people like us. I mean, why me? Jeez, I'm so stupid. And you just hold yourself back. Or you could say, you know what, one day, I'm going to prove myself right. And you'll remember this day because the victim always remembers.
Yeah, the victim always remembers.
You know? So anyway, I mean, how I got my first, how I eventually got my first gig was actually all through a series of events that really just proved that you should not despise any situation, even if it's half an opportunity, half a situation that looks like it might not even go anywhere. You don't know who the people know that are there, you know, or maybe you don't know who the people know the person that brought you here, you know. So
exactly.
So what happened in my case was I was most the dancing guy amongst the white kids there. And then one girl, Maureen Taylor, said, hey, man, could you please be my DJ at my party? And I was not like a DJ or anything. Now I have to go to this Afrikaner birthday party and be a DJ there. I come with my virtual DJ on my laptop. And she connects to everything that's going on there. And now I'm a DJ. I downloaded Tiens Jordan, Nicholas Lowe, Bok. I'm ready. We're doing Sakis and we're doing and all that stuff, you know. And then there was a microphone there. So the father, Maureen's father, asked me to just make an announcement. And I at first I was like, wait, what? So a part of me was quite excited because a microphone in front of everybody. What I mean is that I was not often presented with opportunities like these in social settings to address people. But I know I always had the dream of, you know, being that person behind the mic and speaking to people. But this was my first opportunity. And I could have despised the opportunity and said, first of all, I'm not even a DJ. Second of all, I don't even know if I'm getting paid for this. Thirdly, you guys didn't mention that I should MC or do anything like this. I feel like you guys are just taking advantage of me. I could have done all that stuff. But instead I was like, hey, half an opportunity. Let me actually just be that top billing guy that I always thought I would be. Let me be that UTV presenter.
Your TV kid. Exactly.
Yes. We all wanted to be UTV kids, but UTV never came to Vanderbilt Park. Yes. So I took the mic and I was just like, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I probably spoke Afrikaans. Goeiemorgen, goeienaand, dames en heren. Okay, ons gaan nou vir Maureen Taylor en roep, ladies and gentlemen, the lady of the moment. Put your hands together for Maureen Taylor. And they were like, Yes, I screwed though. Yeah, I screwed. Yeah, I screwed.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you know. Yeah.
I probably didn't sound like this back then, but
Yeah.
now I can't switch it off. It's crazy. But
Exactly.
then that night, someone who was watching called Maureen the next day and said, "Hey, you know the dude that was actually on the mic? I know someone who's looking for an MC for Sun International. Could you tell him if he's interested, we can maybe connect?" Till this day, I don't know who that person was that called Maureen, because that person just made a connection, left, because that's all that God said to do. Just connect to things and leave. And then
She was just a bridge.
He was just a bridge.
Nothing.
And then he left.
Wow.
So Maureen called me, told me about these guys. I got their email addresses and I went. And then I'm excited to be here. I'm just excited at half the opportunity. I'm grateful. I'm practicing and everything. I get there. Everyone is accomplished and qualified and some bodies. And I had feelings that said, leave. You know, I wanted to be guy number 2 and 3 and everything. I just wanted to go and disappear, because they were chatting, and then one is like, "Oh, I do the drive time on 947. I do the traffic." I'm like, "Huh? 947? I felt stupid." The other one was like, "Yeah, you also on radio? Yeah, I'm on YFM. I went to the Y." I'm like, "What?"
Wow. And there's you, a fresh.
You know, I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm in the trade. I'm 17 years old. I'm in a casino. I'm here illegally. Like, what am I doing here? You know, there was that part that said, just stick around, just do your thing, and who knows what could happen, you know? So I just let my opportunity come as well. When I got the mic, I imagined, what would Cece and Shade and Carly do from TV? And then I imitated them and I did my thing. And they really liked me and they wrote my name down, and it was getting exciting. And then they asked that final question, "So how old are you?" I was like, I'm turning 18. They're like, when? No, next year, March. They were like, how did you even get in here? You know, are you too young to... shucks. So it was a, don't call us, don't call you. But 2 years later, they called and they said, "Hey, aren't you the right age now? You said you'd be studying at the University of Pretoria." And this is kind of like how the next thing went into the next thing. And it started to grow. It was still not an easy journey from there, but it was certainly the start of greater things. Yeah.
You know what, Sizoshawa is Kati, but there's a lot I want to talk about. Quickly, just going back to, you've got a gift, and your gift is your voice. And normally, a lot of people, when they think about the voice, they're thinking about a singer. When they're thinking about talent, they're thinking about things like soccer, things that are active, you know. But you've got this thing, and it's a tool, and it's something that is in you that you could easily have treated as, but ngiyakhuluma nje kuphela. How do you, now that you've discovered that you've got the voice, what are you doing to protect and take care of that gift? And what gift has that gift given you?
Okay, so I think that's you. Do you practice these questions? My gosh. All right. So, how do I protect the gift? So, part of protecting the gift is being disciplined. You know, you need a lot of virtues to keep a gift, you know, to keep it alive. You know, it was said in the cartoons, with great power comes great responsibility. You know, you got this great power, but if you don't have great responsibility and the discipline and all the other things that come along with it, then you will squander it. You know, to be able to create quite a lot of wealth for yourself and to help out family and so on is something that a gift like this does, but only if it is coupled with the right discipline, the right dedication, the right follow through, the right commitment, and the right, you know, standards. You know, I've had guys when I was growing up who would, or not even growing up, just in varsity, who would like just ask to borrow my voice just a little bit with your voice like
Exactly.
you know, if you start to lose the discipline, you could lose the favor, and you can lose it all. I mean, there's many examples of that, you know, of people who had such an amazing gift, but they didn't have all the other tools that come with holding such a big, heavy thing. Timothy Maurice once explained it to me as, you have three bodies. You have your PR body, you have your physical body, and then you have your inner person, that body. And it's important that these three are aligned. That they are all fully developed, because some people are not fully developed internally. That those are, you know, those ethics, those values, those morals, those discipline matters. But physically, when you look at them, they look amazing. My gosh, you know, the Instagram type of people, you know, they look great. And when let's say, for instance, the PR body is how they are talked about. Maybe they talked about very well, they look very well, so then a big responsibility comes on their shoulders, a big endorsement deal or something. But now they are not yet internally who they need to be to carry this big weight. What the external body has attracted. Soccer stars, these things happen a lot with, you know, with people in the sports, or even in entertainment. It happens to everyone, even in corporate. So it's so important that you are fully developed in all three, so that you can actually maintain the blessings that you do get. And what gift that this gift given me? Also the gift to be able to influence, to talk to people, to move hearts and minds, and to shape people, and to help them activate their dreams, and to get going and get started on the things that they care about and they are passionate about as well. So I guess it works out that way, and it has been a gift that I could share with family, and it's just been fantastic. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Would you mind if I ask for a 10-minute extra of your time?
I see that we are like left with 1 minute right here. Cool. Yeah.
Exactly.
And an extra 10 minutes on the other side, and then we.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Please stick around if you can. We're gonna do the last 10 minutes. It's literally gonna be just 10 minutes. I came to you after I heard your interview on Power FM, and then I saved your details, and then I reached out and I booked a session for a one-on-one masterclass for voiceover work. And because I'm an actor, singer, and all these other things, and the voice was always is something that I love. Radio, definitely one of the goals in the future. Who knows whenever that will happen, but I wanted to improve on my voice, and I wanted to find other means, because as an artist, there's a long wait between gigs, but there are voiceover duties and voiceover opportunities, rather, that keep popping, you know? So I wanted to equip myself with that skill. And tell us about that, the voiceover workshops that you host and how they came about. Also, maybe tell us about the YTG Media House.
Cool.
What is that?
Yeah, so where do I start? So the workshops, right? It all really just started as in fact, in the beginning, what I used to do was just post regularly when I do voiceovers, so that I can give other people an opportunity to see, you know, what happens in you know, behind the scenes, you know, to see that, oh, there's another career called voiceovers. Because I had the hardest time convincing my family that, hey, I can do this, and this could be a career, and this could be something I could do for life, and this could be an actual career that you can actually make a living from. It was not easy to, you know, just convincing my family of that, because it looked like, you know, engineering was the safe route. I mean, why don't you just stick to this thing? So when I was starting to become quite successful in it, I wanted others to also see me as evidence, because I didn't have anyone to point at to say, hey, that guy's doing well, and this is what I want to do. So I was posting so that, you know, Tsepiso from Tembisa can say, hey, I have another option because I saw this guy do this thing, and I think I can do this thing. And I started having many people reaching out to me saying, hey, I wanna do this as well. I wanna do this as well, and I want to do this as well. In the beginning, I was not sure if I was, even at the level that I could teach people. I was, you have those feelings of inadequacy at some point.
Exactly.
And,
exactly.
But what I soon realized, especially once I started teaching people, is that some of us read textbooks and some of us write them. God just picks who he picks to write the textbook, and it's true.
Yeah.
Where did Plateau and Alexander or maybe Michelangelo or Van Gogh, where did they read? These guys, they were just picked to write the textbooks. Einstein came through, the textbooks didn't have the mathematics he wanted, so he just wrote the textbooks that will have the mathematics he will use for what he wants to do. So God hasn't stopped making people like that, but it's up to you to believe that the thing that you have is the gift that you've come with to the world, because the world is so good at making you undermine the thing that you came with, so that you put that down and you start doing what everyone else tells you to do. So you go to school and you learn what they tell you to learn, but you undermine that thing that you have. I met the CEO of Krispy Kreme South Africa. Now, the interesting thing, if you think of just the Krispy Kreme America, is that kuno muntu oyi-billionaire, guys, ngamakwinya. Wenza makwinya anembobo ngaphakathi and eyi-billionaire. This is what he came with to the world. An ability to make fat cakes, amakwinya, donuts. Maybe this person is bad at maths. Maybe this person is bad at English. Maybe this person is bad at science, history, what mara yena ushaya makwinya, mfana makwinya wake uyawashaya. And instead of just looking down on his gift, he just decided, I'm going to make these cakes or these magwinyas, and they're going to sell worldwide, and I'm going to be a millionaire doing this thing. So I'm just making one example now, but there are many examples.
Amen.
The brothers who made McDonald's, it's just a sandwich, and these guys just found a way to package this thing in a way that could literally create legacy and so on. So there are gifts that we have naturally, but most of us throw them away. We put them to the side because we don't see how they could immediately make us money. We don't see how they could immediately make us the wealth that we dream of. So, or maybe sometimes it's not even just that we don't see it, but even other people don't see it for us. So they tell us first before we even have a voice. When we're still very young, we're already starting to get channeled by people to say, no, And parents can be so good at this that years later you don't even know that it was not your idea; it was their idea.
Exactly.
You just find yourself in that thing now, and you wondering, how did I become this? And you think it was your idea, but if you actually interviewed them, there was a time where they used to channel you quite a lot, and you didn't realize it because they were the ones that were older than you, and you were a naive mind just taking in the information, and then you went in a certain direction. But anyway. I'm saying all of this because you asked me how it all started. So the biggest turn for me really came when I was reading a book while I was in varsity. One of these, books on some sort of self-help or wealth or just thinking different. And the book was called "Things I Didn't Learn What I Didn't Learn at School and Wish I Had." By Jamie McIntyre. And somewhere in the book, it asked me to just idealize my life. If everything were perfect, what would I be doing? If money were not a factor, you had all the money in the world, you've already traveled, you've done everything, and you have so much money that you are doing things for free. What would you be doing for free? Because everything's done. You've traveled, you've shopped, you've done everything. What would you be doing? Because you liked to do it, and you could do it for free. And this is where your passion now starts to come up, and you say, well, if the money weren't an issue, I would actually do this because I could do that for free. I don't mind just doing that if it gives me joy. And if you could create wealth for yourself doing that thing that you love to do, that you feel like you could have done even if you had to do it for free, then you're living a good life. And then somewhere later on in the book, it asked me to write down my own obituary. And it starts with, "Here lies Weza." Now I had to finish it like they were, there was a page, an empty page that needed me to write. I was fairly young. I was probably about in my early 20s, very early 20s, and now I had to write what I wanted to end like. So I had the paragraph before that said, if you were to live an ideal life from now till you are about 90, you did everything that you ever wanted to do, what would you ideally like it to sound like? What should we say about you when you check out? Here lies Weza, or here lies you. Now finish. We will remember her for when he was around, he did what? What did you do with your energy, with your time? Who will miss you?
Gift.
Will miss you? What gap do you leave behind in the world because you were here? What structure do you leave behind to say, this is here because you were here? What is it? And as I was writing these things down, when I finished writing, I realized chemical engineering is not in here. Like, so what if I die earlier? What if by some accident I died too soon and I died doing chemical engineering? Would I feel like I died a life worth living for me? Because it might be life worth living for someone else who
your parents and everybody else,
But you only have one 50-cent coin in this 50-cent coin machine. You remember those machines? You only have one 50-cent coin. And once this one's over, it's over. I can't play someone else's game on my 50 cent. No, man, can I please have my joystick back? And even if I flop, but as long as I flop, it's better because all of us had a 50 cent and this is what I did with mine. You know, wow, that's powerful. I need to write that down.
It is. It is, man. It is. So now you've got this institution that you have started where you are training young, upcoming, not even upcoming because I don't like that phrase, but you are unearthing the talent and giving people the permission to live out their dream by using their voices. How does one get a hold of you? One. Number two, what processes when one decides, wake up to the reality, or even thinks that they've got a voice to offer? Because sometimes when we're thinking about voices, then we're all thinking we need to speak a certain way. And when I came to you, I got to also value my voice as it is and realize that my voice as it is, it's got something that it can add to the world of voices that are out there. So what would you say to somebody else who's like, I think I've got this thing. How do I then push it forward? What do I do? How do I get a hold of you? What are the steps?
Cool. So there's two parts of your question. The first one, yes, the voiceover workshop at the moment is doing very well. I mentor about 200 voiceover artists. These are guys from all around South Africa. In fact, all over Africa. And some of the guys are doing quite well. They've got gigs. I mean, gigs in ShopRite and OK Furniture in other countries, Tanzania, Ghana, Namibia, Zambia, Mozambique, Lesotho, of course, South Africa as well. And it's exciting because I help get guys gigs here and there. I mentor them, help them in their careers. And this is what I wanted to do. It's part of what was in my obituary. I want to have died having created stars, you know, having done things that helped others to help others, you know. That's more or less what I had envisioned for myself, even when I was writing that down. And it kind of gave me the permission to go after that life, knowing that even if I die early, but if my obituary sounds like this, I did it. So that's why I could make that move and leave chemical engineering, because I said, now I know what I'm doing here on earth. This is what I'm doing. I wrote it down. As long as I'm doing this, I'm doing the right stuff. And I'm going in the right direction, as long as it's this one. So today, if you want to get a hold of me in terms of voiceovers or public speaking, radio presenting, or emceeing, or just becoming a better public speaker in front of people, or even if you just want me to come speak at your organization or school or whatever, slide into the DMs, brah. Send me a DM, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Slide at your feet.
Weza that guy everywhere. No down dash, no underscore, no nothing. Just Weza that guy. So just DM Right now I'm training people online and in person. So the online workshops are going quite well because people are able to get training wherever they are and at their time and at their pace. And there's like an hour for free so that you can just kind of learn and see if this is for you, and also test out your voice. You can record something, you can send that to me, and I can have a listen, and I can give you some feedback all for free as you're still starting out as well. So all of that, that's just what I'm building. I'm just trying to build bigger and better things. Yeah.
As we're about to close, quickly, I know this, I wanted to dive on it earlier, but I'm going to just touch on this because I think it's an important question for me. I know that you found love and you got married last year, right?
Yeah.
Would I be cool? Yeah, you got married last year. Well, so my question is how, because I know that a lot of people, especially in the public eye, some who are not in relationships at the moment, they become so scared of, or they become like edgy of knowing who's in your room or who's in the room for you. Quite often, people want to be in the room because of your talent, because of what you have. So what made you trust that she was the one? And this is a very selfish question. It has nothing to do with everybody, but it's a question that I really need an answer to. How did you know for you that she was the one? And how do you actually, besides in relationships, even in friendships that come and you meet like today, they meet Weza, that guy. How do you gel and navigate relationships today?
I think the first part is really just being yourself from the get-go, and not putting on an alter ego or persona. And I think that's probably one part that some people tend to miss. They are somebody, and it makes other people feel like they have to also act a certain way because they have to kind of, it reminds me of the day I actually bumped into AKA. So we were at the Super Sports Studios. I was there to do a voiceover, and he was there for an interview, I guess. And we met at the entrance. And he's there with his entourage, I'm just there alone, I'm just doing my thing. And, there's 3-4 guys with him, and we're signing in. So, I sign in, and now I'm waiting, and then he signs in, and his people there, and he doesn't want to write his name, and they maybe the manager needs to write on his behalf. It's a vibe. And then the lady who's here to open for them comes in, she says, are you also with them? Then I'm like, because obviously I'm not with them. I'll come. So I say, no, I'm not. And then he's like, oh, you're not with us. I'm like, shucks. He's just kind of, am I in a rap beef? Is this how? Oh, no. I felt heated all of a sudden. I'm like, oh, shucks. Because it was weird that like his aura made me want to also inflate myself to be like, oh, I can also
flex a little bit.
Those feelings cause people like, so when you enter a room and you're like that, it makes other people also want to compensate, and it causes tension the whole time, and no one is quite relaxed on themselves. And I guess he also switches it on and off. I don't know, I hope he does, but it's better to live without that. And that's a beautiful lesson I learned from Gareth Cliff, for instance, when I was in his space for a couple of years, and I just saw how human he was, and he's just so chill, and wow, Doc, why are you picking up things? You Gareth Cliff, bro, why are you doing this? And I thought, well, if Gareth Cliff can, Gareth Cliff. Wow. No, you know what? I think I'm gonna. So I'm like a person who picks from a buffet. I when I see something good, I take from your table and I leave the things that I feel like are not for me. So I take a little here, I take a little there, and I kind of use that to form who I am. So I just come into a space as myself and allow people to be themselves, and the right people will feel drawn to that energy, and the right ones will stay. And that's more or less just how you come to take it. You don't really have to, you don't have to force anything. You don't have to.
Exactly. True.
Yeah. Drake said, when you are who you think you are.
Exactly. And how did you know she was the one? Quickly.
I don't know.
All right. No, let's close this thing. Before we close it, just a quick announcement and plug, I guess. I've got a CD out, Mbilu. It's available on all iTunes and Google Store. It's called Mbilu by Siposetu. A book is also available, HE.ARTS, collection of short stories and poems, also available on Amazon. Only electronic for now until conditions are better to ship and to send around. We're going to close this chat with this quick game and then we are out. But before that, I invited you because I wanted to celebrate people who are a light beyond the spotlight. And your life, man, is shining bright. It's inspiring everyone to be themselves, to be the light, and to continue to shine. So thank you. Ngiyabonga kakhulu. All right.
Right.
Let's wrap up the game. It's fill in the blank, okay? You fill in the blanks. So all right, it's 5 questions and you finish them up. Never have I blank.
Done drugs?
If I woke up and blank was not around, life for me would have no meaning.
Sure. These questions of yours. Okay, I must be quicker. If I woke up, no meaning. Shucks, dog, you're so deep. If I woke up, okay, should I shouldn't be so serious. Now this is a game, so I should just
exactly.
Stupid stuff. Okay, if I woke up and voiceovers went around, oh man,
life would have no meaning.
Yeah.
My favorite place in the world to blank. My favorite place in the world to blank is blank.
My favorite place to I think calm down and relax and slow down in the world is the villages, Eastern Cape Tomo.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I get that. Before I take my last breath, I have to blank.
Before I take my last breath, I have to MC at the Grammys.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And the last one, love to me is blank.
Love to me is being prepared to always make adjustments for that particular person. It's just a game of adjustments. You're just gonna have to and as long as you're willing to make the adjustments, you're always gonna be willing to stick around.
And in 60 seconds, what is in your heart that you want to leave as a take home, as a skaftini with the people? What is it that you want people to take home?
All right, guys, I just want to wrap things up again with all of those nuggets from the that we discussed in the last hour and a half.
Yeah.
First of all, carrot cake. Get the ingredients. The ingredients is going to come from many different people. Sometimes it's going to come through training. Get in touch with me. Get the training and get better at that. once you got the training, the other thing that's important is getting in the right environment and staying in the right environment. Mentorship is a big part of that. That's why I actually mentor people as well, so that you can stay in an environment where you can actually grow. Growth takes time. The patience factor, the God factor, that's where that comes in. So you need to also patiently wait as you go through the different stages. How do you get to be guy number 7? Well, you get there by actually trying and not giving up. And even if there are a lot of failures that go in between, but just know that now you're guy number 4, now you're guy number 5. Be open and also be aware and alert of what this phase in your life is teaching you, so that you can go on to the next phase easier and easier, because that's the only way you get to graduate to the next level, is when you actually start to become aware of the lessons that you're trying to be taught in that particular time. And once you get to being number 7 and then live a life of purpose, make sure that you get to give back as well, so that you can create people who go out to create more people. The name's Weza, guy. It's been a complete privilege. Signing out.
Thank you, guys. My name is Sipo Seju. Next week, same time, 9 p.m. on a Wednesday, I'll have a different guest right here on Sihlangu_SA. Guys, thank you so much. My brother, I'm filled up to the brim, and I'm so thankful and so grateful. Stay blessed always, right?
Thank you.
Dare to live.